What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. We're going to cover Europa League, Champions League, FA Cup coming up this weekend. And for those of you, some people watch on YouTube, a lot of people listen on Spotify, Harmony Studio, and Apple, and all the other listening platforms. But for the people that's watching, yes, this is a Jamaican top that I'm rocking. Thank you for asking. And I was in New York. I had a hotel in Times Square last week, Monday night. It's like 8 or 9 at night, which is just like 12 in the afternoon in Times Square time. And I'm walking through Times Square and I see a store that says Pele. And I was like, nah, there's not a Pele soccer store. And then I walk into the Pele soccer store, and then they got Jamaica gear and all kinds of gear. But this is like next level. Like, we got to win some tournaments with this shit. There's no way we losing in this. I have to cop it. And it was only $65.
And you're also gonna have you're gonna have some Chelsea flavor in the Jamaica top. I might cop one of those too.
Whoa. You could cop one, but easy with the Chelsea talk. But it is kind of like
coming.
Like, I did want to get that I still need to get that Ajax Jamaica shirt, right?
Isn't Ajax Jamaica shirt?
Is it Ajax? It's Ajax, right? Because they at every Ajax game they play a Bob Marley song.
Yeah.
And especially since like Ajax gave us all their players and their coach, you know, I should be wearing an Ajax Jamaica shirt. So I'm gonna go online after this and see if I can find that. Like, I was supposed to get that. But yeah, and we got Neil Chakravarty co-hosting, doing the thing with me. Stand-up comic. I don't want to give away your location again, so I always have to like edit that out of my mind. But a Chelsea fan, that's why he's mentioning the Chelsea stuff with my shirt. What's up, fam? It's the 3 in a row. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Life is good again. Life is, you know, it's had its ups and downs, but I mean, that's life as a sports fan, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's had its ups and downs. Even your coach is feeling cocky right now, based on that clip that you put in the chat.
So for people who haven't seen that clip, basically Graham Potter in a fan interaction, he was asked about, you know, what does the future hold like for the rest of the season, what's to look forward to. And he says, yeah, we're gonna try and beat Everton on the weekend. We'll watch out for the draw, and then you're gonna try to win the fucking Champions League. And the way he said the word, it kind of reminded me of, like, you know, when I was like 12, 13, or, you know, when it's just about getting introduced to swear words, cuss words. Like, you've seen it being told by a bunch of cool people, and it's probably the way to go, but it doesn't really roll off your tongue easy.
You need practice. He said it like a baby would say mama or dada for the first time. It's
like he had to like literally crank it out of his mouth.
Yeah, and lean forward a little bit.
Yeah.
And he was surprised he said it. Like, and he looked around to see if everybody was going to be okay with it.
Yeah, he couldn't make eye contact with the crowd after that.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, he's feeling himself, so that's good. You need a confident coach, so that's good. And speaking of confident coaches, we're going to talk about the Europa League and Manchester United playing Real Betis today, and how United has a really confident coach. And you could tell he's confident because of some of the chances that he takes in games, with his lineups. And
Mm.
some of the, like, there's different objectives in certain games. Like, all right, we got to win the game, but we also got to give this player a run in this position to test him out to see if he has any future with us and in this position or any other position. And I got to put this player in this position because I want to see if Sancho can play 10 sometimes and give Bruno a rest. So let me try that. And let me put Maguire in, you know, and give him a run. You know, he just got an England call up, but not only that, I need to rest the Phantom Varane, and you know, so like there's multiple objectives like in a game like this, and so United goes into this leg 4-1 up because they want to beat Betis at Old Trafford last week 4-1. Let me ask you a question about this type of game. Like, is this type of game easy to handle? Like Real Madrid had a similar task with Liverpool in the Champions League, where you don't have. Is it easier to play a game that you have to win or need to win, or than it is to play a game that you've already kind of won? Or you playing a game that the other team needs to win more than you because of the results from the other game. Like, what do you think is easier?
I think both those scenarios, it's easy because the task is exactly laid out in front of you. Whether you have a big deficit or you're protecting a big lead, I think the toughest games are where you're on an even keel. Like if you've like coming in from a 1-1 or a 2-1, 2-1 lead or a 2-1 deficit going into the second leg. There, basically, you have to treat it as you're starting afresh and anything can happen. But a game like this one, you're sitting on a 3-goal lead. It's very simple for the manager to give certain tasks to individuals in different profiles. Like, okay, this is the game plan. You're not moving from it for at least like the first 60, 75 minutes. If things change, then we'll react to that. But this is how you go out and play. And similarly, when you are like we had it last season, we had a 3-1 deficit versus Madrid in the first game, and there was only one option. So there's not a lot of ways you can approach that kind of game. You have to go out on the attack. You have to play on the front foot. You have to try and create a whole lot of chances in that first half, and that's what we did. So,
and how did that work out for y'all?
It worked out great. We had a 3-0 lead go in the 75th minute.
And then what happened? So I think you're stopping to stop and answer the question at the 75th minute for some reason.
I mean, like from a manager's point of view, I think from a tactical point of view, it kind of worked, right? Like because the team did do what was asked of them. But yeah, obviously you're not playing a high school team. You're playing probably the best team in the world. So, yeah, I mean, you look at Arsenal today, like they were coming in basically with a clean slate. It was 2-2 from the first leg, and that's kind of how the game went. They created a lot more chances than Sporting, but Sporting they always had that threat. They should have actually won it in normal time. Ramsdale came up with a great save.
But you say Arsenal. Well, Arsenal had more shots on target.
They had more shots. They had more clear-cut chances.
Right. Well, we'll get to that game. I think there's one more question I needed to ask you, but I'll think of it. But I just like what Ten Hag did today. I think Maguire had a decent game. I like what Pellistri did. He's pretty direct. And I think he's also been inspired by seeing how Garnacho got into the team. And a few weeks ago or last week, when he got in the game against Betis and a ball came over the top and he's being pursued by one of the best defenders. He just made a beeline for the goal line and then got the cross in, even though he could have just cooled the ball and played it back out to Wan-Bissaka or whoever was playing on the right side, the lot at the time, and just eased the pressure. He just went directly in because he's like, and I'm going to get a few chances at this. I'm going to lose the ball in their half in the final third. And maybe if I don't lose it, I can create something. I'm just going to be direct. And he got a bunch of crosses in today, and it wasn't the perfect game. But I understand the type of game that he had. He had the type of game that it's like, I'm not completely settled. I'm not completely confident that the coach has confidence in me. I'm trying to prove myself and do the basic things at the same time, but I got to take some chances to be considered to be a starter or a squad player and to stay here, or even if some other team watches this and wants to pick me up. But it's like there's some things that are in your head when you're not a comfortable starter, and you could see him going through those things. But I think overall, he had a positive game, and I like seeing what I'm seeing, and it's good to see that we have like these extra players that we didn't know we could rely on, and I like Rashford again did his thing. It's just a worldy Ronaldo goal that he took. Like, he's been working on that shot even in his terrible seasons, and he just took that long distance laser blaster from outside the penalty box when nobody thought that anybody in their right mind would shoot. He took that shot, and that ball swerved on the keeper. He didn't stand a chance. And corner pocket, we go one up, and you were saying it's easier when the game is even. Tell that to the
No. I feel that those are the toughest games because you're vulnerable. You don't really know to attack, to commit an attack, or in defense.
Right, and I agree with that because it's so weird. You're like, all right, maybe has Real Betis given up? Did they know they're not going to be able to beat us or overcome this 4-1 deficit? But somebody should have told their fans, because their fans are like, it's almost like Custer's last stand if you're the team that's down 4-1. Like, we're not going to win, but let's give them
get some
hell.
havoc.
Yeah. And they came out, the fans came out lit, and the Betis players started this game as if someone put a hot coal in each one of their boots, and they came at us. And what I do like about United, even though it was very hectic, like when Real Betis, started like this forensic, combative attack, that once we got the first ice water bucket thrown over our heads, we like started breathing and we started reacting the way they were reacting and said, all right, oh, you want to go mano a mano? Let's go. So then we created the same amount of energy. And just to, like, I've seen teams not wake up on time in the middle of a game. And there's been a few games like when a team like turned on the alarm and United was like, just jumped out of bed and was like, all right, let's go. And I like that reaction from our team. And like I mentioned earlier, Rashford put the ball in the back of the net, and we just
he can't stop scoring right now.
Nah, man, he's dope. He's doing some exceptional stuff out there. I want to see him score more than one goal in a game. It's almost as if he scores one and it's like, I've done my job for the day. You know, and I know it's all based on basis, but even when we played Arsenal, it's like, it'd be great for him to get two. But yeah, I think it's phenomenal. Like, I'm glad he's having the season that he's having. And then so some people will say Sancho is not lighting the world on fire, but they brought him on to replace Rashford, and then they brought in Sabitzer, took out Fred, and who did they put on? They put on, I forgot who they put on, but that meant that Bruno was going to come out, and then I knew Sancho was going to switch to the 10. And Sancho has this quality, and I want everybody to wait for it. He's gonna make a great 10. Like I saw some of the commentary on his game, and it wasn't complimentary. And I'm like, did y'all see some of the things that he did? Like in the last 2 games where he did play the 10, like some of the choices he's making out there is outstanding. And just give him a whole game of that. Wait till he gets a whole game of that. The last time he played 10, we was playing Southampton midweek on the weekend, and we got a red card to Casemiro, and everything, the whole lineup got jostled up, and he got taken out the game. So it's just, but just wait for it, man. Just wait for this guy to be a great like alternative to Bruno in the 10, and you're gonna see some magic.
And he's still young, right? So
he's still young.
What's the hurry? He's on
but I can see it.
long contract.
But United fans, like, I mean, at least the ones sometimes that I hear, it's like, I don't know what they expect.
They expect Bundesliga Sancho, basically.
But everybody knows the Bundesliga is not as good as the Premier League.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
there's a learning curve. Like, look at Thomas Partey. You think he's playing now? He wasn't playing like that the first
when he came in. Yeah.
When he came to Arsenal, and then look at him now. Yeah, I know he had injuries and stuff like that, but there's people grow into a league, and I know Partey didn't come from Bundesliga, but it's just an example of somebody I was thinking about all week who hasn't like set the world on fire until in his 3rd year. And it's like he's one of the best CDM/players in the league, period. So y'all just give Sancho his time. I'm glad that everybody welcomed him back when he came back. And I love how our fans support like our players, especially at the home games. But Sancho, you don't want Sancho to go to another team and have to face him. You don't want them type of problems. He's got it, fam. He's got it. And shout out to Eric Ten Hag for doing his thing. I just wanted to like basically protect some of the players and talk positively about some players in a game that we won in Spain on the road, that we didn't have to win, where we made changes and we still won. And I'm glad that Ten Hag realizes the importance of winning. Like winning breeds winning. It's like when you're telling your team, no, we can't take off this game. It doesn't matter if we won that game before. Like one of Ragnick's biggest mistake, like when he first came, I think we won 2 or 3 games in a row or something like that. And then we had this, I think it was a Europa League game, and he played everybody. Like everybody that was on the bench, he played, and we drew 1-1. And from then on, we weren't the same. And it just made too many changes. You just can't, you got to be like this team is following the coach. The coach thinks winning is important. Like whatever you think is important as a coach, the players will think is important as players, and they'll play for that thing. We think Ten Hag thinks winning is important. Result. And our players are like building that result mentality, regardless. So yeah, shout out to everybody, man. Congrats, Man United and their fans, Ten Hag. And Real Betis, you put it to us today. You couldn't win, but you put it to us. Good for you.
Yeah, and results like these, and United has already had a great start to that this season with winning the League Cup. It doesn't really matter what stature of the tournament is. Of course, the aim is always to do well in the Premier League, and if you're in the Champions League. But those are the 2 biggest trophies. But some of these other trophies and the game time in that, just getting those tactics in, getting the formula going together, with goals under your belt, with wins under your belt, that can really help even in the Premier League results.
Yeah. some of these extra games when you go further in these competitions, they're literally your training session.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. That's all you could. You might not be able to like work it out on a field with your own players, but you could be like, hey man, this is the plan, and this is what we're gonna have to do, and we're doing it in real time. So this is the only opportunity in our schedule for us to do this. So you can't like that means you're practicing at full intensity in a real game situation on the road in another country sometimes, or it definitely a hostile environment, and sometimes at home, where sometimes home is as much pressure to give you the results because your fans are there and they want a result. So yeah, man. So we're practicing in real time out here, and he's doing a good job coaching with these coaching sessions for points.
Yeah, that's why like when I hear some fans, Liverpool fans, Chelsea fans, they say like, if you can't get to top four, which looks unlikely this season, if you can't make it top four, might as well not get into Europe at all because you don't want to play Europa League or the Conference League. Conference League, I still kind of understand, but the Europa League can actually be a good play like next season to give game time to a lot of players to rotate and
listen, the amount of players you got, you need to get into. Chelsea needs to get into the Europa League and the Conference League at the same time. You need to get in the Champions League, get kicked out of that, get into the Europa League, get kicked out of that, get bumped down to the Conference League if that was even possible. So you could experiment with all your players, the amount of players you got.
That 48 team World Cup, I think we can supply half of that.
Yeah, I think you will be. I think the World Cup, if
just
Chelsea
give it to us, we'll run it, we'll organize it. Yeah,
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Also, just staying on Chelsea for a second, Inter said they're sending Lukaku back to Chelsea. So your forward problem is solved, bro.
Yeah, our problem for our reserve team,
don't look happy. What's
up? Our dev squad. He's probably going to play in our reserves for a while because I think it's just untenable that he comes in. I don't really see him like even from the for the fans, for the stadium support, for even the way we play right now. I don't really see him fitting in unless there's a dramatic change in the way we start playing by next season. And
you mean when you say by playing, like you guys, he doesn't fit your style of not scoring?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, the fact that he's not using somebody like Aubameyang, who is more of a conventional striker, kind of says that probably Lukaku is not the kind of striker that he'd want to go in for. If he does come in, there's so many tensions within him and the fans that I just don't see it working out. The only way it will work is, say he comes in preseason, game 1 scores a bunch of goals, game 2 scores a bunch of goals, game 3 scores a bunch of goals, leading up to the league, the first game scores a bunch of goals, second game. So he needs to practically be in the running for the golden boot from the get-go for him to, for things to be calm. Because any misstep, I don't think he's getting any more leeway, chances. People will be so quick to jump on him.
Well, let me ask you a question. Who committed the worst crime? Xhaka from Arsenal, who was the captain, threw off the armband and walked off the field in disdain, and everybody thought he was done, or Lukaku's interview and what he did to get back to Inter? At least with Inter, he'd won there. You know what I mean? And he gave an interview that may or may not have been taken too seriously by Tuchel, and that caused a rift and a little ban from the club. And then maybe Tuchel, I feel like Tuchel took that too serious, and then Lukaku's like, hey man, I'm out of here. But now you have Tuchel's not there anymore. So who committed the biggest foul? Who deserved the
So the
bigger
thing
red
with
card?
Lukaku was the interview was kind of an unforced error. Like there wasn't any heat of the moment. Like Xhaka, you can still say, he's getting booed. Like, people have hated on him for years. At Arsenal, it's all come to a head. He's going off, and in the heat of the moment, you do something, right?
Mhm.
Like Lukaku was feted and like welcomed, and there was so much of nostalgia about the old Lukaku coming back when he came in. That was just August, September. Actually, he joined pretty late, so yeah, I think it was September when he came in. And this interview happened in early December when it was at least recorded. Like it's an interview, nobody asked him to go. There was no uh, bullet being fired at him. He
Mhm.
kind of went out of his way. And even then, like he did play, he got a 1-game ban. That's it. Like Tuchel
Mhm.
took him out of the fire. And I actually personally felt Tuchel did him a favor. Because if he had played that game when he was still so raw and fresh, I think it was a pretty toxic environment for him to step into. So took him out for 1 game. And then for the
Mhm.
next 2 months, he started practically every Premier League, like every important game. He just wasn't, he wasn't performing. So then he again got benched after that. So it was, you either have to be, if you want to take the kind of risk he took with the interview, then your performances on the pitch have to back that up when you get a chance. And that was the problem with Lukaku. Like, fans are like, well, why do we have to take shit from this guy who's
He
not
just
even that
turned
good?
it. He just turned into Havertz and Werner and every forward that you had at the time. He just like there's some type of Bermuda triangle that the skills of the forward disappears in the
Yeah,
final
I
third
agree.
of the Chelsea attack. And it's like I was like, what is happening to all these quality players in that part of the field? It is bananas in Chelsea colors. But like I know what he said in the interview, but I also know what Lukaku said, right? When he knew he was going back to Chelsea and Chelsea was buying. And how come that holds no weight? Like I feel like what he like those
Because
words
that
should have a
happened later, right? Because in the
no the
sequence,
interview the interview happened later, but
yeah,
everybody forgot how happy he was to come back to Chelsea and all those words that he said. And everybody forgot that he called Drogba and
yeah.
and all that, right? And he was excited to go back. And I feel like the interview he did was like he felt like he won the league with Inter, and a lot of fans were hurt that he left, and he wanted to just give those fans something in an interview. He said, "He's like, at some point in my career, I want to go back." He didn't say I want to go back now and fuck Chelsea. It's just like you can't mention your ex to your present girlfriend in football, period, or people
Yeah.
write you off. And it's just a mention. It's just a mention.
Yeah, no,
But,
if you do that, you then have to be the best boyfriend of all time. Like you got to be the GOAT.
but
All
yeah,
right.
yeah, it's hilarious.
So you can't do that and then expect any favors.
Right, apparently. Well. Look who's joining us from Barcelona. What up, Lee?
Catalan Lee.
Catalan Lee.
I did a show here tonight. People bought me drinks afterwards. I'm
Oh.
drunk right now.
I can tell by the camera angle.
I'm in a hotel room as well, so I have to
It's fine. It's fine.
figure that shit out.
It's good. It's good to have Beer Lee in it.
I was just googling Barcelona time right now. it's 1:17.
Yep. Yeah.
What up, Lit Lee? It's
And
good.
I just found out on the walk back to my hotel from the club that they have Little Caesars pizza in Barcelona, and that disgusted me. I don't know why.
Disgusted you in a good way or a bad way?
Both, I think. I'm probably going to have it just out of curiosity, but it shouldn't be here. It shouldn't be here. Little Caesar shouldn't be in Barcelona.
But-
It has no
but
business here.
But that you don't have to eat it, bro. You should, because it shouldn't be there, so you don't have to eat it. You could try all the fine foods that they got there. You know what I'm saying? What are you doing there? You went there for shows and to see a match, or both?
Just for shows. I'm traveling back Saturday morning because I've got some shows in the UK, but it's the Classico here on Sunday.
Oh shit!
So I'm sort of in town for the build-up. I'll see that, but I won't see the game because I'll be back home. But hotel prices go way up for Sunday, so it's probably a good thing that I'm getting out of town.
Damn, man. El Clasico is going to be fire. Real Madrid is hopefully Real Madrid can play Barca as if it's a Champions League game, because that's the only chance they got of getting some result out of that.
Yeah.
But we were just talking about United, and we just was going to slide into Arsenal. And I don't know if you heard like what happened, but Arsenal lost to Sporting at home on penalties after extra time in the Europa League. And I just want to say, Arteta, that's what you get for thinking you got squad depth. Play your starting players. You know what I'm saying? Play every time you don't, like against Man City, and I think it was in the FA Cup, and it's like you didn't play your starters and you lost. If you got your starters, play your starters, fam, and you won't get into all this trouble. Like stop trying to rest people. Let your bench players come in when people are tired, and then they'll have like an edge, because there's a reason why some people are starters and there's a reason why some people are in your squad and they come off the bench. And Arsenal did go ahead in this game, and Jorginho put a great ball through, and and I think Martinelli's shot was saved, and then the ball came back to Xhaka, and Xhaka put it in the net. But that was all just a setup for, is it Pedro Goncalves? Who is that?
Pedro Gonzalez.
Pedro Goncalves. In the 62-minute, Goncalves, in the 62nd minute, to absolutely measure Ramsdale like a tailor and lob that ball from the halfway line to the back of the net. What a fucking strike. And there was no way Arsenal was going to win this game after that. You know, the game ended 1-1, extra time 1-1. They went to penalties, and yeah, man, Sporting has gone through. And it's like you can't mess with these Portuguese teams, man. They have a pipeline to some of the best, youngest, up-and-coming players in the world, and their teams are stronger than they look. And that's why you got to play your full teams. Sporting won the league 2 years ago. Arsenal ain't won the league in 19 years. Why the fuck ain't you starting your guys? Or how long has it been for Arsenal? I can't remember. But you gotta start your guys against the team that just won the Portuguese league 2 years ago. It's disrespectful. Are you out of your mind? Like, these are killers out here. Start your team. So
they were in the Champions League this season as well. Like, they almost qualified from their group, so
yeah,
they need more respect.
Yeah, you put some respect on these Portuguese teams' names, bro, because they will get you. And they came to the Emirates. Is it the Emirates?
Yeah.
I think I'm more drunker than Lee. I'm drinking tea. I can't remember shit. Yeah, they came to the Emirates, and first of all, Arsenal were lucky not to lose the game in Sporting. The goal that evened the game up there 2-2 was a complete fluke. So to come back to the Emirates and beat 2-2 and have this home game, and I don't think he started his starting team in Sporting. That should just be like, hey man, I need to just play my team, win this game early, and get out of here. And he didn't listen to that. So now he's only in one competition. Do you think the pressure of just being in one competition, is this going to help Arsenal win the Premier League now that they only have the Premier League? Or will the pressure
Yeah.
of only being able to win one thing put more pressure on the Premier League and make it harder?
No, I think it will help them. The players will be fresher. Like you say, they maybe don't have the depth they thought they did. They still put a pretty strong team out, though. They maybe rotated like 3 or 4, but they got Jesus some minutes from the start. I think it was his first start since he's come back from injury. So Fabio Vieira, like, he played well in the first leg. He's an ex-Benfica player, so I think he's extra motivated against Sporting. He looked like he was in the first game last week. So, they had those players in there. So it wasn't a weak team by any means. Like Tomiyasu needed some minutes as well because he's not normally starting the league games right now. So it was still like a pretty strong team they've put in there. And I think it will help them, though, just having all those players fresh. And I think the Europa League was going to be given where they are in the Premier League, I think it was going to be a small consideration. I don't think the fans, if they lost the Premier League but win the Europa League, I don't think the fans would have been that, ecstatic. I think it's all eggs are in the Premier League basket now, and it definitely is after this game. So, I think they're going all out for that, rightly so.
I just want to respond to that. And there's 2 things. Every time Arsenal fans lose a game, you know what they say? It's because Partey was injured or he didn't start. In this game, you did not start Partey. Start Partey. It's your best chance to win a game. Him and Xhaka. I understand you giving Vieira some run and resting Odegaard, but start Partey. And listen, man, if Arsenal don't win the league, because Man City, it's 11 games, Man City could catch them, this would be the Europa League would be a great consolation prize to a surprise season where they didn't expect to get that far. And at least they won something and they can like hang their hats on it and say, next year we'll get it. But this is dangerous now, man. This is that you got one thing to win and you got a professional set of assassins called Man City on your fucking back. And you got some fucking Targaryen guy who scored 5 goals earlier this week. I mean, good luck, Arsenal. Good luck. You guys want to talk about that game? That Man City Champions League game versus Leipzig?
That video game?
It was pretty much a video game.
I think it's interesting how people are like, almost like, some people are trying to throw shade on Haaland, saying like, oh, like it was a penalty and a bunch of rebounds. And it's like, well, if it's that easy, why isn't everyone doing it every game?
Yeah.
Like he makes it look easy because his positioning and his like anticipation of where the ball is going to drop is impeccable. And when the chances fell to him, he didn't put them at the keeper or over the bar or let it get blocked by a defender. He put them in the back of the net. And that's what he's being paid to do. Like, you can't argue with the numbers. The guy's just an absolute phenom.
I mean, I want my striker to score 20 tap-ins a season.
Yeah.
Like, because that just shows that you're so well aware of the spaces around you. Positionally, you have the awareness to beat your man, and when you get in those positions, you don't give the keeper a chance, and Haaland doesn't give anybody a chance.
Yeah, listen, I'm agreeing with both of y'all, man. Like, that performance made me start to respect any player that they call a tap-in merchant. Like, there's players that they call tap-in merchants, but I watched that game, and half of football is mentality, right, and determination, right, and the rest of it is like skill and whatever other factors. And his determination and his mentality to get in those positions, none of them were give me's. Like the header from De Bruyne's shot after it hit the post was his determination to get there. Like I think he made me think of Dennis Rodman, like who won rings with like Dennis Rodman, like, made people respect rebound, and he's one of the few players that he'd get like 20 a game or double figures. And then people
always the
started,
first person. Yeah.
always the first person. And then you're like, oh, he wanted to more than everybody else. Just like when you're good at something. But this guy is good at rebounding and scoring at the same time. And it's like, why wouldn't you do that? This is why Pep presses to get free goals in the final third without having to build it up all the way from the back. You know, this is a part of their thing. Yeah. And for him to do that, like there was somebody's trying to clear from the corner and he closed the corner down. So it bounced right off him and went in the net. And it's just like his determination that game, plus his skill and his speed and his quality created those tap-ins. So more power to him. And anybody that is saying that, they're either cracking a joke or just haters, man, at that point. But Haaland did his thing.
Yeah, I mean the initial, I don't know if it would be interesting to see the game if Edison had gotten sent off, because I think that was sending off.
I'm trying to remember that because somebody brought that up, and also somebody brought up De Bruyne should have got a red card too. He stepped on someone early in the game too. And they're also lucky, like Nkunku wasn't there, and who else wasn't there for Leipzig? But I can't. Yeah, trying to go to the games, and then the penalty was like, come on.
Yeah,
you can't call that a penalty.
Yeah,
that wasn't a handball. That defender had no idea. And hey, ref, if you go to the monitor, you don't have to agree with the guy who's in the booth who told you to look at the monitor. He's not always right. Yeah, it touched his hand, but
and he just told you to look at the monitor. Like, don't assume that it means that you have to overturn it.
Yeah, that was just bananas, you know. But every player knows, like look at today's game. Like this was in the Conference League. Did you guys see this? Where West Ham is playing, I forgot the name of the team, right?
Yeah,
they're playing.
Seems like the Conference League.
Yeah, anything West Ham is.
Anytime you forget a name.
Yeah, and if I remember the name, it might be some shit I can't pronounce. So I'm just gonna not even look it up. But they're playing a team. It probably wasn't that complicated of a name. So then
AEK Larnaca.
Yeah,
it's a Cypriot team.
Do you see like a red for like a player that got a red card?
Yeah. Luis Gustavo got a red card.
So Gus, his name is Gus on the back of his jersey.
All right.
He fouls. I think it's Fornals. I think it's Fornals or Sue fouls. The fouls at the West Ham get me confused. The player goes down. Gus immediately apologizes. Ref gives him a yellow, right? Ref gives him a yellow. Everything is squashed. VAR is like, hey, man, go look at this. He goes, looks at the monitor. And everybody in the studio is like, this is going to be bad, especially when you slow it down. Because he did catch him. But everybody's up. Everybody's chilling. The ref comes from the thing, does this shit, right? And if you have a girlfriend and she walks towards you and does this shit, you know you're in trouble, right? And kills the yellow, pops out the red. And you know what Fornals does? He's like, ref, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing? And then Gus is like, look at the player I fouled. He's telling you this is not a red. And it's like, it was the bizarrest thing. Like both players on opposite teams are telling the ref it's not a red. But because the guy in the booth told him to look at the monitor, it's a red. And I've never seen a player beg for a player that fouled him to not get sent off. And that was pretty amazing. So fair play to like, and even the other West Ham players like, no, it's not a red, because players are normally trying to get people reds. So it was cool to see that at least, but that shit was bizarre as hell. Just want to get to this. Lee bounced. I just want to get to this to compliment. I don't want to forget this, so shit. Me and you were talking about this earlier, Neil, about Alexis from Soccer Cooligans. So Soccer Cooligans is a podcast that covers mostly the MLS. But one of the guys from the podcast, and they're both stand-up comics, Alexis Guerreros and Christian Polanco. You know, they're obsessed with soccer. They both have Latin backgrounds. I think Alexis, I'd have to, but the important thing is Alexis is going to be a part of the CBS 24-hour soccer network. And last week when I was in New York, I met up with Christian. I did his podcast, and he couldn't tell me because the next day they announced it. And Alexis was in the studio with Thierry Henry and the whole CBS panel on the Champions League show with Micah Richards and just everybody. So shit, man, it's fucking amazing. Dude who had a podcast, like just a comic like us who loves soccer is like working with those.
Shit. Yeah,
that's good shit. So shout out.
He's the nicest guy, Alexis, as well. He took care of me when I was in New York. He helped me get on a show. We hung out and talked football and had some pizza as well. He's a good dude.
Yeah, man, isn't that crazy, man? It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see like what's the format of this new show, like new channel is.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to be, but I think he might have to move to Connecticut or at least go up there, because one of the other guy that's on Golasso, the Latin guy who used to be a goalkeeper but not professionally, I forget his name. He does also Champions League with Paramount. He keeps talking about it too. He's going to be a part of it. So it's been interesting to see how this is. But yeah, so congrats. And then we have some sad news. So you know, on the volleyapparel.com.
Yeah.
And our guy Elvis.
He's been on the pod.
And he's been on the pod. He's in a coma. He's been in a coma for like a few weeks now. I think it was a stroke. And Christian told me about it because he makes the Soccer Cooligans gear. So
damn.
Let's get some positive thoughts and prayers together for Elvis. I almost wore one of the shirts today if I didn't have on this brand new, fresh Jamaican shirt. I almost wore on the Volley Apparel shirt. But let's put some positive thoughts out there and energy. See if we can get him back to 100%. And also thank everybody that came out to the shows in DC this weekend. There were some people there from the podcast. In the middle of the game, I got heckled by somebody that just yelled out Fulham.
Like during your set?
On the Sunday show, yeah. Because he confused the fact that we tied with Southampton. He thought it was with Fulham.
Without forgetting.
So he was trying to hurt me by yelling out Fulham because he thought so. Yeah. And then I was like, anybody, and I apologized to everybody at the crowd for not understanding what the fuck he was talking about. And I said, anybody here follow soccer? And there was like a decent amount of people in the Sunday show that follow soccer and listen to the pod. So thank y'all for coming out. And,
cool.
and keep coming out to all of our shows, man. That's dope. Who else were we going to talk about from this Champions League thing? Liverpool, Real Madrid. What's your takes on?
I thought it kind of showed how far Liverpool have fallen, because so they had a big deficit, right? They had to go on the front. We spoke about it in the last part. Like, they had to attack the game. They had to attack that first 45. And if you see their lineup, they came up with probably one of the most attacking club lineups, because he didn't do the 4-3-3. He did more of like a 4-2-3-1, because he played Nunes, Jota, Salah, and Gakpo. He plays usually 3 of those. He played all 4 of them in the starting lineup. And yet, in the entire game, I don't think they created one clear-cut chance. Their overall XG for the entire game was 0.46. That's
Jesus.
that's next to like not having an attack.
And you would know about that as a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
But it's getting better.
So-
Southampton knows about that too. Sorry, Lee.
So I mean, I think the moment the first 10-20 minutes didn't go their way, the team pretty much just realizes there's not a lot you can do. So the famous Klopp teams that are known for their mentality, the mentality monsters, they're just not there. So I mean, for the longest time, I've always said that no matter what's happening with Liverpool this season, I think they will still make top 4, because they still have a manager who knows what he's doing. They still have a manager who's been there, done that, and they have the core of the team that can go on a run. They're one of the few teams in the last 4 or 5 years that have gone on a run of winning games. So, but games like this really, like, even more so than the first leg. First leg was a bad result, can happen. It has happened to every team. But in the second leg, when you have a clear-cut task in front of you and you don't even like begin executing it, forget about getting somewhere and actually getting over the line. Like, they couldn't even get started. That was like really, really shocking for me.
Isn't there irony in the fact that Rudiger now plays on the same team that he made a mistake against in the same competition, like last season, to help them win it? And then they're like, hey, Rudiger, you want to play for us?
Yeah, and those links were strong even then, but
Yeah, it's like, I'm just realizing how shady that kind of was.
But
Like
I think he, like,
the
Rudiger,
first time he ever played for Real Madrid was with you guys.
yeah. Well, I think he did try his best to win. He did score in the second leg, by the way. He scored. He scored our second goal.
Of course, I forgot that. Conveniently, I forgot that. Okay. Yeah, I just want to bring up that moment.
Yeah.
Yesterday, because when I was watching the match yesterday, I was like, wait a minute, didn't Rudiger play? And that was an infamous moment, and Mendy messed. It was just like
Mendy
people,
and him messed up.
Yeah, it's a moment when under Tuchel, the players that have risen to the top and like been exemplary under Tuchel for his brief stint there, all of a sudden started making mistakes, like in the competition that that made Chelsea fans love them and Tuchel.
And that was the difference in the end. If that mistake hadn't happened, we would have gone through in normal time in the second leg. There wouldn't have been an extra time.
Yeah, that's what I asked. Did you get to see any of the Champions League games, Lee?
Only the ones on the Tuesday, the City game, because last night I was at Southampton Brentford, so I didn't see the Liverpool game.
Oh yeah, tell us about that. The pictures were dope. The way you put it in chat, I was like, I was behind, so I didn't check out the chat till this morning until I'd seen everything. But man, yeah, what's up?
I mean, it's a real roller coaster supporting us right now, because they keep giving me hope in some games. Like, they gave me hope against beating Leicester, gave me hope getting a point against United, albeit against 10 players, and then every time I go and watch us live, I've seen 3 games live this season. We've lost all of them 1-0. Not all of them 1-0. We lost 2-0 for this one. It felt like a 1-0 though, because the second goal was late on when we were trying to get back in the game. It was at injury time. But man, I mean, I've not seen us score a goal.
Damn.
We could still be playing right now against Brentford and we wouldn't score. Like, that's what's going to set. We are going to get relegated. I've accepted it now. It's because we cannot score.
Right.
This game, like Brentford were there to be beaten. They didn't play that great, Brentford. They were solid on set pieces, which is what you'd expect from Brentford. And we fucked up on that. That's where the game-winning goal came from, was a corner where they had 2 corners in advance of that, and we didn't deal with them. They almost scored from those 2 corners. And then the third one, they're like, right, we're not fucking around anymore. This one's going in. And, you're playing Brentford. You need to figure out the set pieces. You need to study the video, study the tape, and make sure we're set up for it. And we just weren't. We were bad. There was one of our, I think it was our goalkeeping coach. He was in the technical area every time, because I was sat right behind the dugout, right behind the bench for Southampton. So I could hear all the shouts going on and the conversations and things. And yeah, the goalie coach was in the technical area every corner shouting at the players where they need to be. And it's like, if you're having to scream at them to tell them where to be, what have you worked on the training field? Like, they should know where they need to be. You shouldn't have to be yelling at them to get them, like, because players, like, I've played and I've coached, and when you're yelling at players in a live situation, they're not listening. They're not going to take all of it on board. They might hear like some noise, but if you're a player setting up for a corner, you're looking at all the moving parts. You're not listening to what a coach 40, 50 yards away is trying to scream at you. Because if you start listening to that, all of a sudden the player that you were trying to mark has moved even further or something. So we were just disorganized, and they hit us on that set piece. And then, we came out, we had 1 good chance at the start of the half, but other than that, we never looked like we were going to cause them problems. We were just, Shea Adams, I love him. He works hard. He runs for the team for 90 minutes, but he's not a goal scorer at Premier League level. If we go down to the Championship, he might score some goals, but he's not good enough. A lot of the team just not good enough, which, it kills me, because we've played okay recently, but we're just not consistent enough to stay up.
Who you got in the next couple of games? Because, listen, I feel like if you win 3 of the next 11 games or 4, you might be good. But I also didn't think you'd get any points from Man United or Brentford. I thought you'd more likely get points from us than from Brentford. I think you're only disappointed because you still haven't accepted that Brentford is like a team, because it's just Brentford. Like, why would Brentford be that? But Brentford, they pounded us and they be beating people.
They didn't impress me though. They didn't impress me at all, really.
But that's how good they are. Like, they cannot they don't have to impress you guys to beat you. Like, Brentford is still, they still got the goals. And the reason why your coach was yelling at those critical moments, because that's what Brentford is good on, set pieces. So I guess he didn't want his players to like switch off, even though it doesn't help based on how you describe it. But it's like, if there's ever a moment to try to coach the players and try to get them alert, is like, this is the danger time. Brentford on set pieces. Let me at least be as much as part of them defending this as I can, even though I'm.
It just seemed to create more confusion, though. It was like the players were like, "What? What are you saying?" They were a bit all over the place. Like, it was, it wasn't great. It was, but like, it killed us this weekend with, like, obviously Bournemouth beat Liverpool, Everton beat Brentford in the weekend, so that kind of put more pressure on us to get something from the United game or this game, and we didn't get a win in either of them, which we really needed, because it just ramps the pressure up. And I'm tired of having hope. I just want to accept that we're going down now. Like, we keep having these little results where it's like, oh, maybe, and then we just put in a performance like that where we don't look like we're ever going to score a goal, and we're just shit for most part of the game. And I can't be dealing with that anymore. It's too much.
It's too much. Let me see. What's your next 3 games? Let's see.
We've got Spurs next.
Oh, shit. All right, what about after that?
But who knows? Spurs is the sort of team at home where we go and win that game. And I'll have hope again.
I've
And then
seen
we'll
you
lose the
beat
next
Spurs
3.
Yeah, but I've seen you beat Spurs before.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, I've seen you school Spurs, like especially
But the
last
problem is
season.
we'll lose games after that probably if we do beat them.
I mean, you know, see,
I would love to see a Conte meltdown this weekend, though. Which could happen.
All right. I think you gotta. So you play Spurs this weekend? So
Yeah.
So this is weird because normally
Then it's
they
the
don't
international
play,
break, I think.
right? But the weird thing is normally when it's FA Cup games, it's just FA Cup games. But because of the World Cup, we're doing both Premier League and FA Cup games on the same weekend? Is that the deal?
I'm not sure.
Like normally, like on a regular Premier League season, there would just be, oh, it's FA Cup weekend, right? Am I out of my mind? And then when the Premier League,
Normally,
yeah. So yeah,
there's a real mix this weekend.
there's a real mix. Yeah,
People
Like,
need
there's
to
more
be people need to be on their shit with their fantasy Premier League teams because there's a lot of players who aren't playing this week.
Oh shit! You could have just said my name. You didn't have to you didn't have to throw that Haley Bieber shade at Selena Gomez online, like coded that coded message. Speaking of FA Cup, United has Fulham this weekend, and no Casemiro. So I'm glad this game counts as one of the red card games that Casemiro is going to miss, and we'll see what happens. Like Sabitzer played today, so he's healthy. So maybe he'll fill in for Casemiro. Maybe we'll put Martinez in Casemiro's position and move Luke Shaw in to play for Martinez, so that we'll have a solid central midfielder who could pass through the lines and do some of the stuff that Casemiro does. Maybe we'll do that. We haven't done that yet, but hopefully we could do that. What do you guys think of Napoli, right, to Champions League and what they're doing and how they're doing it, disposing of people on a regular basis?
It's scary.
Yeah, I mean, Omishen and Kvaratskhelia are 2 of the best, most informed players in Europe right now.
First of all,
and you're the most informed pronouncer of a name.
I was going to
the
do
fact that you landed
quiz.
that.
Yeah, I was going to do that as a pop quiz. Like, it's like, let's see who could say this name, and you just automatically say it again. Say him again.
Kvaratskhelia.
And he's the guy from Georgia.
Yeah. And I couldn't pronounce it. I didn't even try and pronounce his name when me and Neil did the pod the other day, and I was sober, but I've got the confidence. I've got the confidence of a few drinks in me right now, and I'm like, yeah, I'll fucking do it. I'll go for it.
You got the confidence to holler at his name because you got liquid confidence. Funny.
I've been just calling him Cavardona after I read that. Apparently that's what fans are calling him in Naples. So I'm gonna stick to that. Yeah,
he's special, and Omishen's just a goal scoring machine right now as well. Like he's not letting up, whether it's Serie A, whether it's Champions League. Like he's got to be one of the most prolific strikers in Europe this season. Just putting up numbers. So, I mean, I think whatever happens, Napoli are going to be fielding a lot of offers this summer. There's going to be some big money potentially coming their way. Yeah, it's going to be big. So, be interested. I mean, I'd like to see him in the Premier League. I'd like to see if he can do it in the Premier League on a weekly basis. I don't know who's going to be able to afford him. It'd be kind of nice if Napoli could maybe keep this team together a little bit longer, though. But I'm excited if he does move on, if he does come to the Premier League, just to see who he does it with and what he can do. Because, I mean, the guy's a machine.
If I was Napoli, I wouldn't sell anybody. I'd be like, first of all, I'm rooting for Ndombele to leave Spurs and win a Serie A title. So there'll be like another player that left Spurs or played for Spurs that won outside of Spurs. You know what I mean? And that'll make Harry Kane be like, and Ndombele, he couldn't start. And he's got a Serie A, he's got a title, and I don't. And because I think he plays for Napoli, comes off the bench. I think I've seen him come off the bench a few times. But if I was Napoli, am I that broke? Do I need to sell them? These players are still going to be worth money a season from now. Like, if you're going to win the league, because it's going to be tough for them to lose the league right now. So you're going to be in Champions League next year. And then you just sold a bunch of players. You just sold 2 or 3 players a year ago. When did they sell, like, was it
they
Insigne
sold
them?
No, this season itself. They sold
this
Koulibaly.
Right.
And then they sold, I think, Insigne when this season, right?
Oh, yeah, I think it was this season. When did they sell him to the MLS? Like for good money too. Like, why did
It was back end of last season in MLS, I think.
Okay. So who
last
was it?
MLS season.
So who was it again? And you're just rebuilding, and you hit that Arteta stride. Like, why would you? How much money do you need? Like, if I'm a fan, I'm like, hey man, y'all niggas greedy right now.
No, I don't think it'll be the money because their president ADL De Laurentiis, he's famously very difficult to work with. So it's not like he's gonna let people just go. He didn't let Koulibaly go.
Yeah,
Koulibaly became an old man waiting for the transfer. So he gave him like false hope every couple of seasons, and then he just didn't let him go. So I don't think that's going to be the thing. The thing is, if somebody like Victor Osimhen, because he's been pretty vocal about this in interviews, he said he wants to play in the Premier League. If somebody creates a ruckus, then maybe yes. So
maybe Napoli could make a swap, right? They'd be like, all right, Osimhen, you want to go so bad? Go
take
to
Lukaku.
the Premier League. And then, Lukaku, come to us. And then I think Napoli will be back to where they could be in just an exchange of players, a prisoner exchange.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting, at least, because I think there are gonna be, you look at the strikers who might move this season, or at least like players who can play in the forward positions, right? Osimhen, there's going to be people going after him. Harry Kane's probably going to be on the move. There's probably going to be people looking at Mbappe. Mbappe, things between Mbappe and PSG probably not the best. And there are a bunch of teams looking for strikers. So, yeah, it's going to be fun times.
I know Chelsea is one of those teams looking for strikers. Man.
Chelsea looking for everything, anything and anyone.
I just hope Mbappe is not on the market, because I know if he is, Boli literally won't be able to help himself. He will put up whatever money that's required, and it probably will end up bankrupting us.
Listen, man, Lukaku's the only player Boli ever got rid of. Normally he hoards them. Like Lukaku's the only person he's like, go, get out of here. He normally likes it warm, the room packed. And then
Napoli got rid of Fabian Ruiz this season. I mean, he went to PSG. Milik left. So these are all like important.
These are good players.
Yeah.
So it's like they made money, and they were gonna win the league. It's like, why get rid of? Yeah, man. I wouldn't. I'd hold on to this for a while. So I'm glad this director is like or board guy. What's his position?
He's the president.
The president. I'm glad he's difficult. Yeah. One of the most interesting FA Cup matches this weekend is Man City versus Burnley. So we got Vincent Kompany, who used to play for Man City, won titles with them. He's now the coach of Burnley. They're at the top of the championship, second tier of football in England. And the Burnley, basically, if they lose every game now, they would still win the championship, right? Am I exaggerating, or is my math?
A little bit of exaggeration. They could still make the playoffs if they lost all the games, but yeah, I mean, they're leading the league quite convincingly. They're almost certain to come up like automatically.
Right. So that's dope. So it's master versus student. And so this is going to be interesting to watch. What other things do you guys like about this game? Or even if it's the same thing?
I mean, Nathan Teller, who's Burnley's top scorer, is on loan from Southampton, the team who can't score for shit. He scored 17 goals for them, I think, this season. So, I mean, we decided not to try and record him in January because we were like, no, we're good. We've got enough players. We've signed these guys. And he scored for them the other night. He's on fire. I liked him when he was a player with us, and he's only on loan, so hopefully he doesn't join them permanently. Hopefully he comes back to us, because if he can score goals in the Championship, we'll need him next season.
Damn. That's going to be crazy for him. Like, if or when Burnley gets promoted and he's their leading scorer, and then if you guys get relegated, you're going to be like, nah, son, come back down here with us. And he's like,
places, you're back.
I belong to Premier League. I just got this team into the Premier League. What do you mean I got to come back to the champ? That's going to be, he's going to be pissed. He's going to be resentful, bro.
Yeah. There's no, I don't think there's any purchase clause or anything. It was literally just a straight loan. But obviously, if and when they get promoted, I'm expecting they'll try and throw some money at us to get him. But I mean, I hope we say no, because he knows where the back of the net is, and not many of our players do right now.
Damn, especially he knows his way around the Championship. He's like, I got to do this again. God damn it. Football is cold. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about, or anything you want to plug?
I also want to say, like, with Burnley, I've been watching Burnley on and off just due to the Ian Maatson link, but I want to see a game against Man City, because just to get used to the fact that Burnley plays football, it's
hilarious.
From the Sean Dyche times. Like, what company's done is crazy. Like, he's turned around the entire DNA of the football club in like a year season.
But what will he do against Man City is the interesting thing. Does he play like they've been playing in the Championship, where they're high pressing and playing football, or does he go, well, it's Man City, so we need to change up the game plan? So it'd be interesting to see how he approaches it, whether he tweaks anything, and whether he tries to be a bit more pragmatic, or whether he just goes, no, this is our philosophy, this is how we play. I don't care that it's City, we're going to go for it.
They are also, like, even though they are attacking and they score a lot of goals, they're also probably the best defense in the Championship. So it's not like, the team is pretty balanced in that respect.
Yeah.
Is their pressing and their attacking their defense, which is basically what Pep's defense is?
Yeah. They play with 3-man defense a lot, and they use inverted fullbacks at times, and it's a very for a coach who's so young, it's a very tactical setup.
Damn, I'm happy for Company. I'm pretty happy for him. This is going to be an interesting showdown. Do you think Pep will think about taking it easy on him, or
no?
No,
he'd no mercy. He might substitute Haaland early if he scores a bunch of goals again. But no, I think Pep's ruthless.
He will praise him before and after the game. But that's about it. Did you hear what the Napoli manager had to say?
Oh yeah, go ahead, say it. I forgot it and I remembered it and then I forgot it. But go ahead.
So I think in the lead up to the last round of Champions League games, Pep had said that because somebody said that you're the best team in Europe, and he said, no, we are not the best team in Europe. Arsenal and Napoli are the best team in Europe. They play the best football in Europe. So then some reporter presented that to the Napoli coach, and he's like, Yeah, I think Pep just says these things. I don't think he believes this. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to get into my head saying this. He absolutely nailed it because Pep does do this. He always he plays these mind games by just complimenting the other guy. You never take him at his word.
Spalletti can't take a compliment.
Spalletti.
I mean,
No, I'm happy somebody called Pep Guardiola out on this because he does that a lot.
But it's better than he's doing it for his team. He doesn't want to create any bulletin board material for people to use against him. So it's like somebody was saying, they used to say to Jordan, "Nice shot," instead of I'm gonna shut you down and shit talk.
Oh yeah.
Because if you shit talk Jordan, he's just gonna dunk on you. But if you compliment him, you're not giving him any motivation because he thrived on negativity. So
also he probably wants, if he's drawn against Napoli in the next round, he wants he wants the manager to think so big of himself and come out with this free-flowing game and not maybe City can take advantage of that.
Right. I mean,
so you want to lull people into a false sense of confidence.
It's hilarious. I mean, and it's not a lie. They are leading the, Serie A, and they have beat they beat Liverpool. I mean, or was it Liverpool or Chelsea in the group stage?
Liverpool.
Liverpool in the group stage. They were the first team to expose Liverpool this year, and then yeah, man. Anything else you guys want to talk about or plug?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm going to go to sleep.
and how many shows you got coming up there while you're in Spain? Just in case
just one more tomorrow night. So I've got a Friday night show at midnight. And then I'm flying back on Saturday morning because I've got shows in the UK on Saturday night. I'm hitting the road straight from the airport and driving to another show.
Damn, bro. Cool. Get it, fam. Get it. Good shit. For anybody that might be listening or watching, like and subscribe on YouTube and follow me on Instagram. Go to my link tree. You'll see I got shows coming up at Dead Crow in North Carolina at the end of the month. And I'll be at the Comedy Store in La Jolla in May and at Zany's. So, but, check it out and, follow also there. What you got, Neil?
Now I might meet you next week.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you're coming to LA. All right, so I'll see you out there then. All right, bet.
Cool.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening and watching. Yeah. Lee's face is just getting redder and redder.
It's warm here.
Yeah. It's warmer than it was when you was in LA.
Yeah.
At least Spain's weather hasn't changed. But yeah, man, have fun out there. Even though you are already, I don't have to tell you that. Thanks everybody for listening and watching. Like and subscribe or leave a review on the audio platforms. We love you. Be care. Send out some positive energy for Elvis again, and everybody be good. One.
Quick.